Sony has dropped the first trailer for the latest film in the Cobra Kai Karate Kid universe, Karate Kid Legends. The trailer is out. They dropped it today, and I want to give you my thoughts on the trailer. I'm going to go sort of in chronological order. Now, if you haven't caught up with Cobra Kai yet, this doesn't really spoil anything from Cobra Kai, except maybe the fact that Daniel LaRusso survives. You know what I mean? That's not really a big spoiler, but there's nothing really here in this trailer that goes into any Cobra Kai plot threads that we know of, but I am going to be discussing some possible tie-ins to some discoveries that Daniel made in Cobra Kai, but the trailer in and of itself doesn't really go into that. It's supposed to take place 3 years after the end of Cobra Kai, so presumably at this point, Sam LaRusso and Miguel and all them are off to college. So it's possible that Daniel's, just there with his wife, just kind of running the business, LaRusso LaRusso Auto. And not sure if anything's going to happen to that business in season 6, part 3, but there's not much here. So the trailer opens up with some very flashy moves, and it has Jackie Chan playing Master Han, reprising his role from the 2010 Karate Kid that was originally a remake, but now it's part of the universe. Talks about how Kung Fu and Karate are both sort of rooted back through history, which is true. And so we see the character, the new character played by Ben Wang. He's making his debut here. He's going to be the lead protagonist. He's training. And then we see a taxi cab pull up to Mr. Miyagi's house. And we know it's Miyagi's house because it looks very similar to how it did in the previous films in Cobra Kai with the red roof and everything. And you can clearly see Mr. Miyagi's classic yellow car there parked in the driveway. So that is refreshing to see. And then we have a voiceover from Daniel LaRusso who says, "You knew Mr. Miyagi." And Mr. Han says, "I did not come looking for Sensei Miyagi." So clearly that rumor or that speculation that Mr. Han knew Mr. Miyagi years ago, that apparently is true. Now, will Cobra Kai expound on that? Will Cobra Kai sort of, lean into that a little bit? We don't know. We do know, based on what the comments that were made from the Cobra Kai creators, is that they were building towards their finale, and that the Karate Kid film is a separate story from the Cobra Kai story. So obviously I'm not expecting Johnny Lawrence and Robbie to be in this film, other than maybe flashbacks and cameos. It's not their story. I think some folks are going to be let down by that, but they're kind of building this Miyagiverse to where you're going to have different stories. So maybe the next movie will be about Johnny. I mean, there's a lot of different ways they can take it. Nevertheless, having this connection between Mr. Miyagi and Mr. Han is not something that we may definitively find out in part 3 of Cobra Kai season 6. But obviously it would make sense considering that Jackie Chan's a 70-year-old man. So obviously he had a run-in when he was younger with Miyagi. Nothing more to that, though. We don't know if they trained together. It seems like they knew each other, but we don't know if he's a student. But basically the idea is Mr. Han came looking for Daniel. Now, how does he know about Daniel? It's got to be from either seeing footage of the All Valley or from seeing footage of the Sekai Taikai. So that may be a tie-in. Obviously, the people that wrote the movie obviously paid attention to Cobra Kai. It's not the same writers. It is not the same writers, but when you're doing a story in the same universe, you have to pay attention to that universe and have it match up. That's the problem Star Wars had, is that the directors and writers didn't really pay attention. And that's why the sequel trilogy had so many issues. With this, they have to note what changes Daniel LaRusso went through in the Cobra Kai years so that the character can be shaped right in the film. And even Ralph Macchio himself said that he wants to do right by the character of Daniel LaRusso. So the story sort of goes in this, it's basically a story where, based on the footage and on what Mr. Han says, he says that Lee, which is the main protagonist, the kid, played by Ben Wang, is to him what you were to Miyagi. It's almost like a father figure type of situation. And clearly, the kid's having some problems. They show him sort of looking at his eye from getting into fights. So it seems like maybe Daniel and Mr. Han together are going to train him. I mean, that I knew that based on the poster and based on the announcement of the story of the film. But is he going to train him for a tournament or just to protect himself, or maybe both? Typically in these Karate Kid films, it starts off just learning self-defense and it grows into something much bigger. They show some pretty cool acrobatic stuff from Ben Wang. They show some training with Daniel LaRusso. So it looks like, and I could be wrong about this, but it seems like the story is that Mr. Han wants Lee to learn Miyagi Do self-defense as well as Kung Fu and maybe combine them in a hybrid style. But that seems to be sort of the whole like story here, because it says, two families unite, and you could say it's like the Han family and the LaRussos, or you could say it's really the family of Kung Fu and the family of Karate. You know what I mean? Like more of a mythical kind of union, because they're both sort of branches from the same tree. And even Ralph Macchio hands, this is a very big scene, man. I'm surprised they put it in the trailer. Daniel LaRusso, played by Ralph Macchio, he hands Ben Wang the Miyagi Do headband, and he says, two branches, one tree. So it could be a situation where Mr. Han is related to Miyagi, right? They're cousins or something like that. And it could be that because Miyagi had no kids, because remember, Miyagi passed away, between Karate Kid and Cobra Kai, didn't have any kids during that time. He was already an old man in Karate Kid, but his wife and kid passed away, in the distant past before he even met Daniel. So Daniel is basically like the next Miyagi. He's like the next generation of Miyagi. He's the one that carries the Miyagi Do legacy. That's what he's doing. He might not be a blood relative to Miyagi, but he's like a son to him. You understand what I'm saying? They show some scenes of what looks like Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio fighting in like a subway, and you see them really just very basic combat. And then they show this sort of ring, which appears to be somewhere in the East. It could be in China, or it could be a place that looks like China. It could be Chinatown in New York. I'm not sure. I really don't know. And there appears to be a tournament. So much like a lot of these films, there is a tournament. So of course that'll be the big climax. Maybe Ben Wang's character Lee will win a tournament or overcome his fears, or maybe it's something with his family. I mean, again, the plots have not come out yet, but it seems to me like the story here is that Daniel LaRusso is the, surrogate son of Mr. Miyagi, the practitioner of Miyagi Do, and it looks like he's going to help train Lee. So Lee will learn the complete martial arts combining Kung Fu and Karate, even though if you watch Cobra Kai, they've already got a lot of Taekwondo and Capoeira influences, so this wouldn't be the first time you have two martial arts styles coming together at all in this franchise. It's just, I think there's going to be more of a connection with the past and Mr. Han and Miyagi. So I'm going to go see it. I mean, hell, even if Johnny's not in it, I mean, I would love to see the continuing story of Johnny Miguel, but there's time for that. Down the road, there could be another Cobra Kai type of show or a movie. I would love it if there was a big movie, but there's a lot of characters in Cobra Kai too, so juggling them in a TV show is easier than juggling them in a movie, because a movie's got a limited runtime. So who knows? But what did you think about the trailer? Let me know in the comments, and I'll keep following this story if we get information, as it comes out. So take care of yourself, y'all.